Right.
But the Sauvignon has definitely grown, increased. As you know, in wine, things take a long time. And so usually when I speak to producers and I say, have you increased your plantings and so on, they will say, yes, we've planted more Sauvignon. In terms of the reds, I was expecting to find an increase in Trousseau.
Mm.
Percentage wise, it hasn't really gone up. Overall plantings in the Jura has gone up a little bit, by about 15% in 10 years, which
Okay.
is good. Um, and so therefore, when you look at the percentage of grape varieties, you have to bear that in mind. The
Okay.
reality is that Chardonnay is a dilemma because everybody needs Chardonnay because it is the grape variety to make Camel, it's the grape variety to make Macra, and it makes a whole range of fantastic white wine. However, it is most frost prone. And so that is very difficult. And then in the reds, the most frost prone is arguably the most fashionable grape variety from the Jura, which is Pulsar or Pusa if you're in Puglia. And
Yeah.
Pulsar's a disaster. Even in my first book, I said that it was the most difficult variety and the most disease prone variety in the Jura. It was and it is. It's also very frost prone. Um, these days, there's a sort of new problem for it. There's two new problems. In 2014, there was the appearance for the first time of a new fruit fly, Drosophila Suzuki, as it was called. It came from the east, and so it's a horrendous fruit fly. So there've always been fruit flies. Fruit
Yeah.
flies tend to damage, uh, or sorry, they tend to attack already damaged grapes. So if you've got grapes before harvest that are getting riper and riper and riper, but they've had
Mm.
a bit of rot or they've had some mildew and they've got a problem, and then gets the right conditions, which is wet and quite warm, for the fruit flies to arrive, they go,
Yeah.
oh, yes, please. And they go to these damaged grapes. And that has always
Yeah.
happened. And Pulsar was always prone to that. This new fruit fly behaves differently because it actually attacks grapes that are not damaged.
Yeah.
And does it seems to do it for fun. And it just sort of arrives and goes, makes a hole in them. And then,
Yeah.
as my informant, who was who's the regional technician for the vineyards, and he said to me, "So the Drosophila Suzuki comes in and it makes a hole in the vine. It goes away and it invites all the other Drosophila to come and have a party."
Gosh, it's like a fox.
So
It's very sly.
yeah, on a small level, you're right. It's like so it's Pulsar that it damages. I know it exists
Yeah.
in Beaujolais as well for Gamay, but Pulsar is totally. So this is one problem. The other problem that Pulsar has is in beautiful years when we have a lovely summer, we've had no frost, everything's doing really well, and then it gets very, very hot, and Pulsar has these
Yeah.
very thin sensitive skin and it
Yeah.
suffers from sunburn. So everybody wants to persist with Pulsar because it's a real tradition in the Jura and
Yeah.
people love the wines. They are really, I hate using the word unique, but Pulsar is unique as a grape variety.
Yeah.
It produces these light, ethereal wines that have got better and better in the past few years. And very delicate and lowish alcohol, fresh, pack a
Yeah.
punch as well. And
Yeah.
so people are okay. People will replant Pulsar if they are having to pull up for reasons of other
Yeah.
reasons, but there's not many new plantings of that. Um,
Uh,
the two varieties that resist climate change best are Savagnin and Trousseau, which are genetically
Okay.
related anyway. And they are the traditional grape for the future.